guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and this is B.fleye Beauty, and hopefully you guys watched my update video and know already that my mom passed away. I guess when this video is going up, it will be officially 8 weeks, which feels like forever and not forever at the same time. I'm sure if you've been through something like this, you totally get what I'm saying. But I thought I would do a video on what I learned from my mom. And I did a poll on Instagram between some video ideas I've been having, and this is the one that won. So I made a list, and I think it's really cool that you can learn really great things about people you love and people in your life, and you can learn maybe what you don't want to do with your life through that person. Anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start. Things I've learned from my mom. Her name was Suzanne, by the way. Susie Q. The first thing that came to mind for me was just being independent. She wanted me to have a job as soon as possible. I was 15 and a half, and she kind of forced me to get a job, but it really meant a lot to me, because what you learn from that is how to take care of yourself. And she just wanted me to know that I can take care of myself. I have the means, I have the opportunity, I have everything I need, but that it's really important to do that you don't, I mean, it's nice to like have those people in your life that you can count on to help you through life, whether that's financially or whatever, but you need to be able to do that for yourself in case of, you know, those moments where you run into having to live alone. And I have lived alone for a third of my life, and somehow I made it. So financially, being able to be independent, being able to, you know, budget with my money, you know, knowing how to find a place to live, things like that, just being able to take care of yourself in general. And I am so thankful for that. I was not thankful at 15 and a half, but I am thankful now because I have come across moments in life where I was able to survive and maybe other people were not. So anyway, it's important to be yourself, number 2. So I think as you grow older, you automatically have the sense that it doesn't really matter what people think about you. I've talked about this with many people that are older than me, and it just gets easier, so they say. That's something that I deal with just with my personality type is, you know, I don't want to upset people and I want to make sure that I'm making everybody happy. But my mom just really didn't give a shit. And that's like her style, the things she wore, her personality, what she said, how she lived her life. She really didn't care what people thought about her. And I think that's a great trait. And I am really, really, really working on not caring what people think about me. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do. Now, I don't know if she fully felt that 100%, but it really felt like that from the outside. Again, her personality, the way she talked, the way she dressed, she was a little outrageous, and I appreciate that. What do I have next? So this is kind of this is like one of those things where you've learned what not to do. And I think a lot of her family, her immediate family, was like this. And so all of my cousins and like the trickle down family kind of believes more like me in this area, which is to take care of yourself, go to the doctor. Like, I know no one can know everything, but you know, doctors have gone to school way longer than I have gone to school, and they have studied more science than I have. And I feel like there's a time and a place to trust a doctor. And if they tell you that there is something wrong with your body, it is important to follow up and to take care of yourself. And I know that we could go in to talk about insurance and opportunity in the world to get to a doctor and what that means, but just the basic idea of taking care of yourself. You know, if you haven't felt good for 6 months, to get it checked out. How important it is for me personally now to have a checkup every single year. Like, I go everywhere, dermatologist, gynecologist, my regular, you know, general practitioner. I just want to make sure that I'm catching things early if something is going wrong, and how important it is to just take care of yourself. And then also to, let those people in that care about you if there is something going wrong, so that you can get the prayer you need, you can get the assistance. Like maybe there's something you don't know that exists in the world that someone you know and love that's in your life could tell you about. I want to live the longest life I can on this earth, and I want it to be healthy. So go to the doctor, people. Get your preventative. Bubble baths, the importance of unwinding and taking care and having this like small moment of the day for yourself. It doesn't have to be bubble baths. It could be a shower. It could be journaling. It could be whatever. But my mom had this routine every single night that I now have for myself, which is having this long bubble bath. She read in the bath, but like that's your time. You need that moment, whether that's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever you can fit in. How important that is to take that small nugget of time for yourself, whatever that means for you. And for me, that really is a bubble bath. And I am getting back into reading. So next one would actually be how important reading is. I am so thankful that she was a reader and that she read to us. And I used to love reading. I will be reading books this year, and I'm already back into it, I promise. But just when it comes to, life learning, and just when you're in school, what reading does for your intellect and how you learn other subjects. Like reading is just one of the number one things you need in life. And I just really appreciate having a home where we read, and trying to get back to that. Another not so good one, or one where it's, I learned what not to do, which is not letting work take over my life. I actually enjoy being busy, and it's really hard for me to relax, but I've learned watching other people that I don't want my job to be it. I want to play. I want to relax, like truly relax. I want to explore the world, especially traveling. I don't want to live to work. I just really don't. And so I'm really focused on this year, scheduling things that make me super happy when it comes to play and travel. And I think you should too. What else? So this could be good and bad, which is exercising and moving my body. Like this came from a negative space when I was younger, but now it's just part of my life, and I actually enjoy exercise, whatever that is. At the time, it's different every year for me, but I love to be outside taking walks. I love moving my body, and just the idea of how important that is for your health. And I think that even though I am overweight, the fact that I am an active person comes out in my blood work when I go to the doctor, and that really does keep your heart healthy. So just the importance of, again, not necessarily sprinting for 2 hours a day, but just the idea of moving your body and exercising, and how healthy that is for you. I'm very thankful that she kind of pushed me into that. Even though it started negatively, it ended up becoming something positive, probably thanks to therapy. Wearing SPF. I know I'm annoying about this, but when you see your mom's got skin cancer, it really affects you. And I think her generation of, like, she was born in the 60s, but really grew up in the 70s, what you used to do to be tan was out of control. And though I do like color on my skin, I do preach SPF to the point of annoyance of my friends, I'm sure. But that really is one of the top 3 things I preach about is SPF. And I think that's just in general in your life. Like once something negative happens, that's something that sticks to you, and you want to do the opposite of that. So that's one of those for me, is wear SPF. God, having a daily devotional. That's something she did before she kind of got super sick, out of control, like where she was stopping her routines. She had that daily devotional with God, and her dad was a preacher, which was my grandpa, and so we grew up in the church and we grew up as Christians. But to see your mom actually take that to her house and not just leave it at church, if you know what I'm saying. She actually had this routine where we prayed before we ate, and she read her Bible every day, and seeing that made it more of a habit for me. And that's, again, something that I'm working on again for the year to bring back into my routine. But it's just, I feel like you learn so much more from watching than you do by hearing someone telling you what to do. And my mom was a great example of some of these things, and the daily devotional with God and the Bible was one of them. And lastly, I have mental health. I think a lot of the issues that my mom had that kind of went too far when it comes to physical mental health had to do with something that maybe could have been prevented by seeing a therapist or seeing a counselor when she was younger. And I think, you know, maybe back then it wasn't as prevalent going to therapy, or there was a stigma back then, and she did have that idea of like, why are you going to therapy? You're a strong person. And I've kind of talked about this before, talking about therapy, but you know, therapy doesn't have to mean you're on the edge of depression, you know, suicide, whatever. It could just be that you need somebody to talk to about some daily things. And I think this is becoming something else like SPF that I push on people, you know, in a loving, bully way. That, you know, it's great to have a therapist to go to regularly that knows you, so that when something bigger happens, you have something to go to. And obviously God is number one, but having a secondary help. You know, God did create the mind and the science backing psychology and therapy and counseling, and I think we should use it. And I think the combo of the two is such a great help. And I went originally when I was in a really bad place, but now I have this person to go to where, you know, once my mom did pass away, I had someone to go to. When I went through a bad breakup, I had someone to go to. And then they can catch those moments before you go down that bad hill of depression, if you're not already there, you know. So I think your mental health is so important. And, you know, if you go to the doctor for a broken arm, why wouldn't you go to the doctor for something going on in your brain? And yeah, I think mental health is super important. That's a whole nother conversation. But we need to kind of get away from the idea that it's something scary or it makes you weak or whatever. So those are the 10 things I learned from my mom, and I would love to hear what you've learned from your mom or dad or parents or your guardian, whatever, loved ones down below. And yeah, I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.